entrance to Sand Dunes National Monument, which we're flying by again.
One day we'll stop.
Someday we'll stop. I guess if I was still working for the airlines, it might sound something like, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's your captain speaking. For those of you seated on the right side of the aircraft, if you look to your left, you'll see those passengers seated on the left side of the aircraft. For those of you seated on the left side of the aircraft, if you look out your window, you'll see Colorado's San Luis Valley, the largest alpine valley in the world, with an area of 8,000 square miles and an average elevation of 7,500 square feet, and home to the Sand Dunes National Monument. Currently, our estimated time of arrival at whatever destination we're going to is late as usual, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. So, we're on our way to Wisconsin for our second sailing vacation in 2021, and perhaps the last sailing vacation on our 1985 Cabo Rico 38. In exquisite condition, very well cared for, soon to hit the market. Stay tuned. Well, it is about 05:49 on Saturday, September 11th, 2021. Just got off the dock in Manitowoc. Looks like we're going to try to head for where are we headed? Frankfort. Well, it is about 6:38 in the morning on Saturday, September 11th, and just got a little sail on the boat. National Weather Service says gusts to 30 today. The other wind models don't say that, but I figured it was easier to put in a double reef. Easy enough to shake that out later if the winds aren't as strong as National Weather Service says they're going to be, but better safe than sorry. A lot easier than trying to take in a reef in that kind of wind. So we waited till the last minute to make reservations over in Frankfort, to discover that either Michigan DNR doesn't handle reservations over there, neither does DACWA. Long and the short of it is we don't have any reservations, and those harbors in Michigan that the DNR does make reservations for, a lot of them are full. I don't know what's going on, so I'm a little concerned about what's going to happen when we get to the other side of the lake. Manistee had space last night, so kind of mulled it over and thought, okay, let's just go to Manistee and sit in, because we know we can get a slip there, and DNR won't let you make reservations after 8 o'clock in the evening on the day before. So here we are off to the other side of the lake without reservations. Don't know where we're going to stay. Don't know if we're even going to have room in an anchorage anywhere, and got a couple of days of unpleasant weather after this, so it sure be nice to be tied up to a dock someplace with shore power. So far, forecast winds not happening. Assuming they'll pick up as the day wears on. Everybody is in agreement that the wind should be anywhere in the 15 to 20 knot range, originally gusting to 25. The whole wind's to 30 knots in the open waters forecast was new this morning, along with occasional waves of 9 feet. And like a couple of blockheads, we decided to go anyway. So, well, as the 8 o'clock hour passed in Michigan, we were still close enough to the Wisconsin shore that we had cell reception, and we were actually able to get a hold of Jacobson and they have space for us. So feeling a little better about the crossing today. So finally got enough wind, just enough to keep the jib from slapping all over the place. We can keep that filled, but we're still motor sailing. Still only about 6 knots of apparent wind. Pretty good rollers coming in occasionally.
Yeah, you got the camera on there, not coming.
Yeah, turn on the camera and they all go away. So anyway, that's where we're at, about an hour after the last time I turned on the camera. It's about 7:20 now. So hopefully we can enjoy the sail across the lake today. Speedy arrival in Frankfort. Speedy and uneventful.
That would be lovely.
Well, it's a noisy, lumpy ride out here. The wind's veered a little bit. Actually, the wind hasn't really veered. It's been out the same direction, but it's strong enough now that it's beginning to influence the direction of the waves. Where we had more of a quartering sea before, it's becoming more of a following sea, still off the stern just a little bit. But not enough wind, motor sailing to really keep the sails filled. Our apparent, or our ground wind is not working. I'm not sure why, but I'm guessing the GPS isn't talking to the sailing instruments for some reason. So all we have is our apparent wind, and guesstimating on that, I'd say we're somewhere in the range of 14 to 15 knots out of the southwest. So running before the wind and that much, with that kind of velocity, be pretty slow progress. So we're keeping the engine on for the time being. They just issued a small craft advisory for the east side of the lake. Not surprisingly, I don't know why they didn't have one before. So anyway, we'll be sailing into that. I think that lasts until about 5 o'clock this evening, so it should be dying down by the time we get there. But yeah, this is a mess. So, a little progress report. I've already updated my watch to Eastern Daylight Time. It's about 10:47 there now, so we haven't crossed the state line yet. We're about 10 or 12 miles from it yet. Moving right along very often at hull speed or better. Still on the engine and double reef main, full head sail. I'm really liking the numbers we're seeing on speed. I'd like to be under sail alone, but we're kind of racing the clock, especially losing an hour. The marina over there closes at 5 p.m. and so we want to be in range of either radio or cell phone so we can get a hold of them, get our slip assignment, keys to the bathroom, Wi-Fi code, all the good stuff. So as usual, we're kind of crunched when we cross the lake. It seems like we're always in a rush. We can never get away early enough. So I'm just going to leave her on the Iron Jenny and under sail for the time being. The winds have kind of filled in from the southwest. The direction hasn't changed as predicted. We kind of got into an area again where we're getting some rollers broadside, but the wind is starting to influence the direction of those waves again too. We were rocking and rolling pretty good once again, not quite as violently as this morning. And I finally got smart. I thought we were going to be running almost directly before the wind today, and knowing it was going to get gusty and not wanting to go forward, I thought I'd just rig up the boom brake in case we had to jibe. And I was using that to dampen all the motion on the boom. I finally transferred that line and got a preventer set up, so we're kind of good to go there. And also, coincidentally, probably just about this time, 20 years ago, I was landing a flight in at Denver International Airport. And it was kind of odd. We didn't know anything about what was going on. We had flown in from Fargo, but when we took off from Fargo, one of the planes, I believe, had already hit the World Trade Center. And we got within range of Denver. We were probably about 30-35 miles from the airport. It was clear as a bell, as it was over most of the country that day. And the approach controller asked us if we had the airport in sight. And my first officer looked at me with kind of a puzzled look on his face, and I said, yeah, it's in sight. So he reported it in sight, and they cleared us for the visual approach to whatever southerly runway they were using that day. And shortly thereafter, and for anybody who doesn't fly at an airport as busy as Denver, it's extremely unusual to get cleared for a visual. Well, it's unheard of almost to get cleared for a visual that far out, unless it's at dead of night and there's nobody flying. So usually you're within a 10-mile final with traffic ahead in sight and everything else before they clear you for the visual. But anyway, yeah, it was kind of weird. They cleared us for the visual approach, handed us off to the tower, and we just caught the tail end of something. The controller said something like, yeah, 757 and 767, a couple of big ones. And my mind immediately went to the air traffic system. They just recently switched computer systems at ATC, and I figured there had been some sort of a foul up and there was a mid-air collision or something, but it wasn't until we got on the ground, got in the blocks, that the ground crew told us that there had been a terrorist attack. So a little worried about what we're going to find in the news when we get on the other side of the lake today. I hope that there aren't any bad actors that are going to try to do some sort of anniversary thing. So we'll find out. One thing I know for sure, nothing I can do about it. So anyway, yeah, kind of a lumpy ride out here, but not bad. We expected it. And we're moving right along, especially under power and sail. I'd rather be under sail alone, but again, we're kind of rushing to get to the other side of the lake. So if this fills in even more, and the wind is supposed to back a little bit today too, so it's going to put us on a beam reach. But just having a little additional velocity and wind has really stabilized the ride, so that's nice. Anyway, that's about all. So, little travel update. We just passed the Welcome to Michigan sign. You feel welcome?
Sure.
So, wind's still out of the southwest. They're gusting well towards 20 knots, maybe a little over now. Haven't started to back yet, but we're speeding right along. I shut the engine off about 2 hours ago, and we've been regularly maintaining hull speed. Hull speed plus as we're surfing down some of the bigger waves. Seas now are built to about 5 to 6 feet regularly. Once in a while we'll get a 7 or 8 footer. Nothing that's obscured the horizon yet, so but they have built not really an uncomfortable ride. I did shorten the head sail a little bit. It was getting pretty hard to control, and it looked like the prudent thing to do. So, double reef main, shortened head sail, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, but they've extended the small craft advisory on the Michigan side of the lake until 8 o'clock tonight. So, we're going to be arriving about 2.5 hours before that it ends. And we've never been to Frankfort, so I don't really know what to expect there. Hopefully we don't run into any complications. At the very least, it'll be a washing machine inside the breakwater. about it. That was me. We're about a half an hour out of Frankfort. seas haven't moderated much, nor have the wind, nor has the wind, I should say. So it should be interesting getting in there.
Okay, it's a little before 5 o'clock on Saturday, September 11th, and we are on our way into Frankfort. And the night shutdown is saying that he will stay long enough till we get in, which is nice, since we're supposed to be off at 5. Anyway, I don't know if you can make it out from here, but periodically you can see those big, well, waves don't block it. See the water breaking over the break? That big old huge puffs of white. Of course, right now they're not as dramatic. Oh, there's a good one. Yay! Anyway, Bill and I've gotten wet a couple of times today from breaking waves over the stern. Well, actually, the starboard rear. Anyway, it looks like we're down to Safe Harbor, which will be lovely. It'll be nice to get off the lake after a bumpy day. 11 hours, 69 miles across, and high winds as high as up to gusting to 30 knots. And except for the first, well, to about 10:15, we've been just sailing and not under the motor until we just now put the sails down in order to come in. Check out how far the spray is going over.
See that?
Of course, I didn't get that far. There we go. Oh, that was good. I hope it shows up.
Well, we made it to Frankfurt and we didn't touch the bottom or trade paint with anything. Still hear the roar, the crashing of the waves on the shore out there.